that they have here.
गाइज मैं अभी इस बोट में जाने वाला हूँ जो सामने है उसमें, ठीक है, और अंदर से आपको दिखाऊंगा, फिर मैं वहाँ जाके यार देखते हैं। और कुछ सामने ऐसा प्यारा नज़ारा है इधर भी। Announcement.
The Joey and the crew would like to welcome you for this traditional tour, the harbour tours. So, as you know, we are going to be cruising around two harbours, namely Mastan and the Grand Harbour. Okay, we are also going to enter a number of fleets, marinas, and shipyards, visiting commercial boats, liners and super yachts as well. I will be telling you something about the story of the harbors. Starting from the year 1530, the arrival of the knights of Malta until 1917, came British military termination from trading, and the wheels will be on the right hand side. Well, kindly note that our bar is already open. If you want to buy something to drink, we have the original Maltese beer, which is lager. We have some local wine, water, soft drinks, or maybe a coffee or hot chocolate. It's a cash bar, okay, we do not have the card machine. And later on, the crew members will also come around to take your orders. But on the left-hand side of the boat and light rods on the dock. If you need some other information, on our right is We are now entering creek number 2, known as Lazzaretto. The building with the arches on the right is this hospital in 1643. And for centuries, the authorities enforced strict quarantine rules to all incoming visitors. All garrison and ships coming from suspected or contaminated of days. Of course, no one in those days had a clue that the ship's rats were the transporters of the disease, that no one could prevent rats from swimming to shore, even during the time of the British and allowed the order to leave the island with all their possessions. Here the knights were left without territory. After 8 years, Emperor as the new seat of the Knights of St. John remained in Malta for 268 years and would leave a lasting imprint on the island. With the arrival of the Order of St. John in Malta in 1530, great changes were about to take place. As you may have noticed, it was built in the shape of a cruise liner, especially when lit during the night. It also provided a small marina to in 1565 that marked the beginning of the 4-month-long battle known as the Great Siege. Thousand put up an incredibly defiant fight under extremely difficult conditions. But on the 8th of September of the same year, victory was declared for Malta. Due to the fear of another Ottoman invasion, the Grand Master Valletta quickly started the building of more fortifications, further strengthened the harbour area. 1839. In 1980, Valletta was declared by the UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Grand Harbour, the largest harbour in Malta and one of the biggest natural harbours in the Mediterranean. It is 3 kilometers deep and has a coastline of 15 kilometers. Maximum depth of water is about 30 meters. It has been used as a harbour since at least Ferry, an audiovisual show about the 7,000 years of man presence on Malta. There is also a permanent exhibition about the Knights Hospitallers on the medical history of the order. In 1800, the British Navy, together with the help of the Maltese population, made an end to the French occupation of the island, which had started in June 1798. The building gets here. There are many storehouses in the vicinity, most of them built by the Knights. Once again we are passing by Valletta, which contains buildings from the 16th century onwards, built on the plans of the architect Francesco, assistant of Michelangelo. Gate. This was built in 1885, and by that time this was the only entrance to Valletta from the Grand Harbour. Next at sea level is the church dedicated to Lies, built in 1620 but rebuilt in 1740 by the French Knights. Following is the old customs house, and high above is a public garden. And here one will find several statues, including one of Sir Winston Churchill and the successful sculpture of the Maltese sculptor Antonio Shortino. The garden was the gift of an 18th century knight and harbour. Grand Harbour, Floriana is met again. The quays along this part of the harbour were mainly used as a cruise liner terminal and industrial activities. The colourful warehouses at sea level were built in the mid-18th century under the patronage of Grand Master Pinto. These were made available to traders and shipowners. Today it formed part of what is known as the Pinto Wharf, the backdrop of the new cruise liner terminal. Well, this is a very nice place here, the Valletta waterfront. Okay, well, one can dine. They used to refer to the warehouse by the color. Yellow was for the wheat, green for the vegetables, blue for the fish, and red for the wine. We are now entering Marsa Creek. The word Marsa is from Semitic origin and means harbour or port. Interstorms. During the works, many archaeological finds were made and countless others were destroyed without reaching our knowledge. Nowadays, in this creek we find two private shipyards and what originally was the Malta shipbuilding. In 1798, Napoleon Bonaparte captured Malta by deceit. He had asked permission to enter our harbours. Napoleon expelled the Order of St. John and abolished slavery. Even if the order had put up a fight, it would have been quite useless. Their cannons had rusted, their gunpowder was moulded, and the loyalty of many a French knight to the order was questionable. Before setting sail to Egypt, Napoleon took a large quantity of treasures from palaces and churches. It is believed that these treasures were on board the ship L'Orient, which sank during the Battle of the Nile against Nelson's fleet. At this time, the Maltese wanted to oust their French overlords and dispatched a petition to Lord Nelson. On Admiral Nelson's orders, Captain Alexander Ball and his fleet helped the Maltese to move out the French. Finally, in 1800, the French left our islands and Malta was given to Lord Nelson. In 1814, our island became a British colony. In 1964, Malta became independent, and Republic in 1974. On 31st March 1979, 162 meters in length and can accommodate ships of 320,000 tons. Any ship which can pass through the Suez Canal. And the French merchants used to anchor in this creek, hence its name, French Creek. The area was converted into a naval dockyard during the British period, which significantly affected the local economy. But during the Second World War, the area became one of the main targets and much of it was badly damaged. HMS Illustrious and HMS Jersey were heavily bombarded in this creek. Ships managed to make it to Malta, and on 15th August, the feast day of Santa Maria, a Brisbane star in the battered oil tanker Ohio, entered the Grand Harbour. King George VI of Britain visited Senglea in As you go around the peninsula, you see this beautiful watchtower, also called Guardiola, and it is one of the most photographed spots in Malta. On the sides you see an eye and denier carved into the stone, reminding the watchmen of their twofold duties, to watch and listen out for the enemy. In the middle is the famous fleur-de-lis, which was part of the coat of arms of Grand Mastan. Creek by the night was Galley Creek. Today it is known as Dockyard. Grand Master Cottonet, who was responsible for fortifying the three cities. The Grand Harbour Marina in this creek resembled the Venetian gondola, and the Maltese name is Daisa. In the time of the British, there were many bars and places of entertainment in the three cities, and the Daisa operators used to ferry British sailors from boat to bars and vice versa. In front of us we have the city of and also the first home for the night. Okay, from 1530 until 1571, the year when they moved to Valletta. And here they left more history, okay, such as the Inquisitor's Palace, various churches, the Church of St. Lawrence, and others. One of the most interesting places to see in Vittoriosa is the Maritime Museum. Archaeological evidence indicates that since prehistoric times, this ridge on the right has always been an important site. The first settlers on the island built temples here to honor their gods. According to legend, this fort is built on the site of a fortified Roman settlement, strengthened by the Arabs, the Normans, and the Spaniards. When the Knights came to Malta in 1530, it became their headquarters, and later Kara. The center of this village ahead of us is dominated by the parish church of St. Joseph. Karkara has its own history of shipping and fishing, and many small boats are repaired here. Repair yards for larger boats are also found in this creek. One of the major landmarks here is the large columned building at the top of this peninsula on your left. This was built in 1650 by Fra Giovanni Bighi, a prominent bailiff of the order. In 18 to convey the wounded directly from the ships. In World War I, some 50,000 injured soldiers were treated here. It functioned as a hospital until 1970 and then served as a school. You see the planetarium over there. It forms part of the Internet Science Center named Explora. And here I'm going to tell you something as well about the Mediterranean Film Studios. It is worth knowing that from the past, more than 100 films were produced in our island. Films like Orca the Killer Whale, Midnight Express, Munich, Captain Phillips, Troy, and many, many more. The film Gladiator of Russell Crowe, for example, you must have seen this column building because some parts of the film were shot here. Of Giovanni Ricasoli. This is the largest and latest fort built by the Knights in Malta and could maintain 2,000 men. When the British came to Malta, they immediately realized the vital importance of this fort, so the breakwater in front of us was built by the British between 1903 and 1908. It's harbour. They were met by the fire, and during the fight, the bridge was blown up and blocked the attackers' exit. All the E-boats were sunk on the spot. By a large number of foreigners every those of you from Ferry, Malta, Dorset.
थैंक यू वेरी मच गाइस। मैं इस बोट में था और अभी टूर करके निकला हूँ और सामने कुछ इस टाइप का प्यारा सा खूबसूरत सा नज़ारा। ये भाई कोई फिशिंग कर रहा है तो मिलते हैं जी अगले वीडियो में, ठीक है। थैंक यू वेरी मच।